Hello everyone, and welcome to Carnage Reviews. My name is Eric, and today we're going back to Italian horror. But not just any Italian horror film, a cannibal film. But a very different type of cannibal film. Today we look at 1980s Cannibal Apocalypse. Now, before we sink our teeth into this delicious Italian treat, just a quick reminder to please consider subscribing to the channel if you haven't done so already. It's the best way to keep up to date with everything going on here at Carnage Reviews. Just tap that subscribe button and then click the little bell notification icon to be notified when I upload new content. If you do wish to support the channel further, I do have a Buy Me a Coffee page. A link to that will be in the description below. Besides sounding like a badass name for a Cannibal Corpse tribute band, Cannibal Apocalypse was directed by Antonio Margaretti. It stars John Saxon, Elizabeth Turner, Giovanni Lombardo Redige, Cynthia De Carlos, Tony King, Wallace Wilkinson, and Ramiro Oliveros. The film begins with a flashback of the Vietnam War. A group of soldiers, led by Captain Norman Hopper, raid a camp where a poor doggy gets blown up. During the fighting, a woman gets barbecued via flamethrower and falls into an underground cage where two U.S. soldiers are held captive. Charles Bukowski and Tommy Thompson. Boy, food in Vietnam must not be that great because these guys are so hungry they decide to feast upon the fried-up woman. Captain Hopper finds the men, and Tommy is so happy to see him he can't help but bite some flesh off the captain's arm. Hey, that's how I say hello. It turns out it was all a dream. Captain Norman lives with his wife and struggles with memories of the war. He also develops the urge to bite young women who fake basketball injuries and want to borrow his wife's hairdryer. Things go from bad to worse when Charles Bukowski, recently freed from the mental asylum, goes to the movies and gets sick of the movie theater popcorn, so he goes for something in the meat category. A huge standoff with the police occurs, with Captain Norman coming to save the day.
All you have to do is piss on it. Remember?
Right. Just piss on it.
Charlie goes back to the loony bin where he hooks up with his old cannibal friend Tommy. It is discovered that Charlie, Tommy, and Norman may have a form of rabies that make them crave human flesh and fight motorcycle gangs. So I saw this one on Tubi a while back, and I decided to buy the newly released 4K edition of the movie. You know, I love the fact that we live in a world today where even hidden gems like this are getting 4K releases now. It's crazy. I like this movie a lot. It's a nice spin on the genre. Rather than it taking place in the Amazon with some cannibal tribe, it takes place in the good old US of A. It's much closer to a film like David Cronenberg's Rabid as opposed to Cannibal Holocaust. As far as gore goes, you do get some of the red stuff. I mean, as a movie about people becoming rabid cannibals, what else would you expect? However, I would say that by today's standards, it's definitely not as graphic as it probably was considered. And I would dare to say that even by the standards back then, it probably wouldn't be considered super graphic either when you compare it to films by Fulci or Argento. There is a standout scene where this woman who has recently become infected with the virus gives a whole new meaning to the term slipping the tongue. The music in the movie is very interesting. At times, though, I felt like I was watching a softcore porn movie on Cinemax as opposed to a cannibal film. So there's this motorcycle gang in the movie. Charlie ends up killing one of the gang members after he's released from the mental hospital. So, of course, the gang ends up wanting revenge. Tommy, Charlie, Norman, and this female doctor who gets infected, they all band together, I guess, over their common love of human flesh. I don't know. But anyways, they get together, and eventually they have a run-in with this motorcycle gang who wants to fight them. So, of course, a bloody battle ensues. One guy actually ends up getting an eyeful. So one thing that confuses me about this motorcycle gang is one of the members is wearing like a mask that's made of duct tape. And I'm wondering why. Was he too cheap to buy a ski mask? Was he trying to cosplay as a mummy and he'd only had enough tape for his face? I don't get it. So when the Cannibal Apocalypse Club gets chased by the police, they end up in a sewer, and the police send a SWAT team down in there to get them. One of the members of the squad has a flamethrower, and I'm wondering, is that really a good idea to bring a flamethrower into a sewer? that probably has, toxins and methane gas. Probably not a good combination. And I also have to wonder too, like, why would the police department have a flamethrower? I mean, in the Vietnam scene, it makes sense because they're military, but why would the police have this? I'm guessing maybe that when they were making the movie, they were just like, damn it, we paid for this flamethrower, so we're going to use it. I know it sounds like I'm ragging on this movie, but honestly, the things I'm mentioning are what I like about it. It's just good old fashioned grindhouse fun. I think if you're a fan of the cannibal film genre and are looking for something a bit different, you should definitely check this one out. So, the late great John Saxon, when he received the script for this movie, it was poorly translated and he didn't realize that the film was actually about cannibalism. So, when he was on set, they brought out this raw meat and he asked what it was for. And when he was told that it was to, simulate eating human flesh and that parts of the meat were supposed to be genitals, he was not very happy about that, which is probably why we don't see him actually munching on any meat in the movie. If you're a fan of Italian horror films, cannibal films, action films, grindhouse films, there's something here for you in Cannibal Apocalypse. I give it 3 skulls. Thanks for checking out today's video, guys. Have you seen Cannibal Apocalypse? What do you think about it? Let me know in the comments. If you enjoyed today's video, please tap that like button. And if you haven't done so already, please consider subscribing to the channel. With that said, all this talk about meat and cannibalism has made me hungry for some rare steak. Alright guys, bye-bye.